Hi, welcome to our channel True Up. Today, the 4G network is highly popular, and it can practically fulfill our everyday demands, allowing us to swim in the network's ocean. Technology, on the other hand, is always evolving. Previously, many people believed that steam was the technological limit, so they went to electricity. Just when many people thought that electrical technology had reached its pinnacle, informatization and digitalization broke past technological barriers. Communication technology, of course, is no exception. In addition to 4G, 5G has developed nowadays. At the moment, China's Huawei leads the globe in 5G technology. However, the United States, which has traditionally been the technological leader, has become intolerable. It has started to find another path and catch up. It has not diminished the United States' confidence in its ability to outperform Huawei. The United States has refocused its attention on new 5G technologies. They have also been developing alliances and ready to collaborate to establish a new 5G standard. The lovely ideal, however, eventually met the raw fact as time passed. The United States did not recognize its errors. The US telecom giant just announced its departure, which Huawei CEO Ren Zhengfei correctly expected. So, how did Ren Zhengfei accurately foresee it? Will the United States forgo the deployment of 5G Open RAN base stations? Okay. Let us now turn our attention to the news that the US telecoms behemoth has announced its resignation from the Open RAN alliance. Cellcom, a US operator, revealed publicly on April 29 this year that it has stopped its Open RAN network in Wisconsin, USA owing to a lack of agreement on the most critical pricing. This also implies that the Open RAN alliance that the US has worked so hard to build has been ripped apart within rather than washed away by the outside world. The United States may not have anticipated this circumstance. The tiny wireless network provider in the United States announced in 2018. Parallel wireless virtualized Open RAN network equipment would be deployed in sections of its Wisconsin service region. The announcement occurred almost simultaneously with the launch of the world's first 5G networks by major network operators in the United States and South Korea. This occurred, however, before Open RAN technology gained worldwide geopolitical relevance as a tool in the US-China trade war. Ren Zhengfei is capable of forecasting such outcomes. Ren Zhengfei delivered a calm and confident speech in response to the outside world's concerns about Huawei's 5G future development while recruiting teammates for the development of Open RAN technology in the United States. Huawei's 5G equipment technology is superior, and they are foolish to deny Huawei. They don't have an option but to buy it. Today, the US telecoms behemoth Cellcom clearly confirmed the veracity of Ren Zhengfei's side statements. So, what was Ren Zhengfei thinking when he said it? So, what makes us believe Ren Zhengfei's forecast is correct? To begin with, Open RAN contains shortcomings and hidden threats. Richard Mackenzie, chief researcher of the British Telecom Group, stated during a seminar on December 6, 2021, that Open RAN technology is still not good enough in the short future, and the current deployment is incorrect. Ericsson also said on September 10, 2020, that there are several particular possible serious security issues in Open RAN technology. In summary, if Open RAN has vulnerabilities and security dangers, the US telecom behemoth would inevitably depart from this partnership, and Ren Zhengfei's prophecy will be proven right. Second, Open RAN is having difficulty demonstrating economic cost benefits. On March 18, during the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, Howard Watson, BT's Chief Technology and Information Officer, officially confessed that the telecom sector had been overhyping the technology from the start, but had been exaggerating, at least until now. So far, the CTO has not observed any cost savings that are sufficient. In other words, this technology should be impossible to repay, and inevitably, the US telecoms behemoth will retreat, as would Ren Zhengfei's statements. In summary, the current state of Open RAN technology should make it difficult for the US to catch up to Huawei in 5G base stations and 5G technology. Will the United States thus abandon Open RAN in the future? Will the United States forsake Open RAN deployment? To begin with, Open RAN still has development potential. In truth, the United States should not abandon Open RAN implementation. Richard Mackenzie, chief researcher of the British Telecom Group, also stated at the conference on December 6 last year that despite the technology of Open RAN is still in its early stages of development. In the long term, though, it will be a really competitive technology. As a result, it is not difficult to conclude that the Open RAN technology itself has significant development potential. Because there is so much promise, the United States will not quit its deployment. Second, the United States is falling behind in 5G technology. OpenSignal, a British data crowdsourcing firm, published a fresh study on February 16 of this year. According to the research, internet connection speeds throughout the world have increased since 5G technology began to roll out at the end of 2019. However, the expansion pace of the 5G network in the United States appears to be inadequate, ranking towards the bottom and becoming the slowest in the world. The findings in this analysis show that 5G in the United States is likewise backward. However, 5G is undeniably the most important future development trend. If the United States wants to revive its technological grandeur, it should not abandon the implementation of Open RAN. After all, this is the United States of America, overtaking opportunities on bends on the 5G field. Finally, Open RAN offers enormous potential for 4G development. According to a Neowin study, Vodafone officially confirmed on March 19 this year that it is now employing Open RAN technology. It can be observed that Open RAN technology should still have the possibility and capacity to develop 4G, and it appears to be more powerful than existing 4G technology, even in isolated villages, to cover 4G mobile services to hard-to-reach rural locations across the UK. Coverage is conceivable. 4G is still highly popular right now. Despite the fact that this technology has not yet met the mature requirements for the creation of 5G, the United States will not abandon its deployment due to its enormous potential in the growth of 4G. In summary, the US telecoms behemoth has formally withdrew from the Open RAN alliance, in my opinion. This indicates that the United States 5G sector is emerging in this technology. Ren Zhengfei is correct. Huawei's 5G technology and equipment are unquestionably the finest options. It is difficult to predict how long the so-called Open RAN alliance in the United States would endure. Thanks for watching our video. We would appreciate it if you subscribed our channel and gave us a thumb. See you.